When God is getting ready to elevate you, he doesn't announce it. He tests you. He stretches you. He puts you in situations that reveal who you truly are becoming. Breakthrough isn't a moment you step into. It's a version of you that God prepares. And right before your biggest blessing, God often sends 3 major tests. Most people fail them because they think the pressure means something is wrong. But the pressure is proof that something is shifting. If you're feeling stretched, challenged, or isolated, don't misunderstand the season you're in. This is the season God uses to strengthen the roots before he grows the fruit. One of the biggest signs that God is testing you is isolation. God will pull you away from people, places, and patterns that keep you comfortable. When God is about to elevate you, he disconnects you from environments that can't handle your next level. You'll look around and wonder why certain people walked away, why certain relationships suddenly changed, why certain doors shut that you thought would stay open. But isolation is not abandonment. It's preparation. God hides you before he reveals you. He separates you so he can shape you. He removes the noise so you can finally hear his voice. If you feel alone right now, understand this. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. The second test is opposition. Whenever you get close to a breakthrough, life will start throwing everything at you at once. The pressure increases. The spiritual warfare intensifies. The attacks come from directions you never expected. Things that used to be easy suddenly feel heavy. You'll face resistance not because you're going in the wrong direction, but because the enemy knows what's on the other side of your obedience. The closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the battle becomes. Pressure is a sign that promotion is near. Opposition is confirmation that you're advancing. Don't run from the resistance. Push through it. The attack isn't a sign to quit. It's proof that you're carrying something valuable. The next test is instructions, the kind that doesn't make sense. God will ask you to do things that stretch your faith. He'll tell you to let go of something you're emotionally attached to. He'll tell you to move when you feel unprepared. He'll tell you to sow when you want to hold back. He'll tell you to forgive when your flesh wants revenge. And every instruction becomes a doorway to the life you've been praying for. God never gives instructions to burden you. He gives instructions to bless you. But the blessing is on the other side of obedience. If God has placed something on your heart that feels uncomfortable, inconvenient, or illogical, that's probably the key to your breakthrough. Don't ignore it. Don't delay it. Don't reason your way out of it. Obedience is the currency of elevation. Then God tests your patience. Waiting seasons are some of the hardest tests you will ever face. Not because waiting is painful, but because waiting exposes what you believe. When God delays something, it's never because he's forgotten you. It's because he's developing you. Delay is a divine tool. It matures you. It stabilizes you. It teaches you to trust in God's timing more than your own desires. Some blessings come instantly. Others take time because God refuses to give you something prematurely. What good is a breakthrough if you're not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually ready to sustain it? The waiting season isn't working against you. It's working for you. Don't misinterpret silence as absence. God is working in ways you cannot see. God will also test your character. Before he gives you a blessing, he examines whether your character can protect it. He'll test your discipline, your integrity, your humility, your self-control. You cannot carry a big destiny with a small character. God loves you too much to promote you unprepared. He's not testing you to expose your weaknesses. He's testing you to strengthen them. Every challenge you face is building the version of you that can handle the prayers you've been praying. You ask God for more. Now he's making you more. He's shaping you into someone who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't fold under responsibility, who doesn't compromise under temptation. This is character refinement, not punishment. And then comes the test of endurance. Because right before your breakthrough, quitting seems like the most logical option. The battle gets heavy. The progress feels slow. The results seem invisible. And you start wondering if it's even worth continuing. But listen closely. The breakthrough always shows up one step beyond the point where most people give up. Endurance is what separates the called from the chosen. Anyone can start. Anyone can believe when things look good, but few people keep going when every part of their life is telling them to stop. The blessing belongs to those who endure. The future belongs to those who refuse to quit in the storm. So if you're feeling isolated, under attack, stretched by obedience, frustrated by delay, refined in character, or tested in endurance, this is not the end. This is the signal. God is preparing something for you, and he's preparing you for something. Don't misread your season. You are closer than you think. Breakthrough doesn't show up early. It shows up right on time, and God is getting you ready to receive it. Hold on. Stay faithful. Stay obedient. Stay patient. Stay disciplined. Your test is not a sign of God's distance. It is evidence of his involvement. This is the final stretch before elevation. Don't miss this season. Your breakthrough is on the other side of your endurance. There comes a moment in your life when God begins to separate you, and at first it feels confusing. You look around and suddenly the people who used to be close don't feel close anymore. The conversations you used to enjoy now feel empty. The places that once felt comfortable now feel too small. And you start wondering, why do I feel so disconnected? Why do I feel so alone? Why does it feel like everything and everyone is drifting away from me? What you don't realize is that isolation is not rejection, it's redirection. When God is preparing to elevate you, he will intentionally pull you away from anything that cannot survive at the level he is taking you to. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. Some relationships were only meant to teach you, not travel with you. Some environments were good for your growth, but not good for your greatness. And God in his wisdom begins to strip away the excess. He starts removing the voices that keep you comfortable so he can amplify the voice that keeps you called. Isolation is God's way of detoxing your spirit. He removes the noise, the distractions, the low-frequency conversations, the hidden jealousy, the subtle discouragement, all the things you didn't even know were contaminating your clarity. When you're surrounded by too many voices, you can't hear God's instructions. When you're surrounded by too much chaos, you can't discern the path ahead. So God brings you into a quiet season where the only voice you can lean on is his. That silence isn't empty, it's sacred. Most people panic when God isolates them because they confuse isolation with abandonment. But the truth is, God does his greatest work in the dark. Seeds grow underground long before they rise above the soil. Diamonds are formed in places where no one can see them. Warriors are trained in private before they ever win battles in public. When God hides you, it's not because you're unworthy, it's because you're under construction. There are breakthroughs you cannot receive until you get alone. There are instructions God cannot give you until you step away from the noise. There are levels of maturity, discipline, wisdom, and spiritual strength that only develop when it's just you and God. Isolation forces you to confront yourself, to reflect, to heal, to let go, to outgrow. You begin to see who you really are without the influence of others. You begin to hear what God has been saying for months. You begin to feel a stretching, a calling, a pulling towards something greater. And here's the part most people miss. God isolates you to protect you. Sometimes he pulls you away because he sees the betrayal you can't see. He hears the conversations you don't hear. He knows the intentions of people you think you can trust. When God removes you from certain circles, it's because he knows those circles would suffocate your calling. When he separates you, it's because he's saving your destiny. So if you're in a season where you feel alone, misunderstood, separated, or disconnected, don't let discouragement distort your vision. You're not losing people. You're being lifted. You're not being cut off. You're being cultivated. You're not being isolated to break you. You're being isolated to build you. God is preparing you privately for what he is about to release publicly. This is not a season of emptiness. This is a season of elevation. Hold on to that truth. Your isolation is the birthplace of your next level. One of the clearest signs that you're on the verge of a breakthrough is when opposition rises from every direction at the same time. You start facing problems that weren't there before. The battles get louder, the pressure gets heavier, the resistance becomes almost suffocating, and you begin to wonder, why now? Why is everything hitting me at once? Why does it feel like life is trying to break me? But what you don't realize is that pressure is not a sign that you're failing. It's confirmation that you're advancing. Whenever God is getting ready to promote you, the enemy sends opposition to distract you, discourage you, and push you to quit right before the blessing arrives. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat. He fights what carries potential. He fights what carries destiny. He fights what carries purpose. If your life feels like a battlefield, it's because heaven has marked you for elevation. The storm isn't random. It's strategic. It's designed to make you question your calling, doubt your progress, and walk away from the very thing God is about to release into your life. Pressure reveals how close you are to a shift. Think of it like a bow being pulled back. The tension increases not because the arrow is going backward, but because it's being launched forward. The resistance you feel is the setup for the acceleration you're about to experience. The battle intensifies not because God is ignoring you, but because God is preparing to lift you. Pressure is an indicator that promotion is near. Opposition also exposes what still needs strengthening. God allows resistance so you can build resilience. He allows challenges so you can develop character. He allows setbacks so you can learn strategy. If you never face pressure, you would never grow the strength needed to handle the blessing you've been praying for. Every attack is training. Every struggle is conditioning. Every difficulty is shaping the version of you that can steward the next level with wisdom, humility, and endurance. And let's be clear, the closer you get to breakthrough, the more intense the pressure becomes. Right before the door opens, it feels like everything is trying to shut you down. Right before the answer comes, it feels like everything is falling apart. This is because spiritual battles peak at the edge of elevation. The enemy fights hardest when he knows he's about to lose his grip on your life. He attacks your mind, your relationships, your finances, your confidence, your stability, anything he can get his hands on, not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. But here's the truth. What opposes you is actually positioning you. What attacks you is actually advancing you. What pressures you is actually preparing you. Opposition is not a roadblock, it's a doorway. Pressure is not punishment, it's proof that God is pushing you into your next season. You are not under attack because God forgot you. You are under attack because your calling is too powerful to be left alone. So when pressure rises, don't retreat. When resistance hits, don't fold. When challenges stack up, don't assume you're off track. You're not being destroyed. You're being developed. You're not being overwhelmed. You're being strengthened. The opposition in your life right now is not the ending. It's the evidence. It's the sign that you are closer than you've ever been to the breakthrough that will change everything. Hold your ground. Stay steadfast. Keep moving. Promotion is on the other side of this pressure. One of the greatest tests God will ever give you is the test of an instruction that makes absolutely no sense to your logic. God will ask you to do something that contradicts your comfort, challenges your understanding, and stretches your faith far beyond what feels safe. And this is where most people hesitate because they want God's direction to match their reasoning. But God never operates on human logic. He operates on divine purpose. The instruction won't always make sense, but it will always make you. There are moments when God whispers something into your spirit that feels too big, too risky, or too unreasonable for the season you're in. He'll tell you to walk away from a place where you feel secure. He'll tell you to begin something you feel unqualified for. He'll tell you to forgive someone your flesh wants to hate. He'll tell you to give when you feel like withholding. He'll tell you to move when you feel stuck, or to pause when you're ready to run. The instruction rarely aligns with your logic because God is not trying to confirm what you already know. He's trying to elevate who you re-becoming. And here's the truth. Every breakthrough you're praying for is hidden behind a step of obedience you haven't taken yet. God doesn't tell you to do things to burden you. He tells you to do things because he's unlocking something through your actions. Sometimes the instruction is the key and your obedience is the door. What God tells you to do may feel uncomfortable, but the blessing you're asking for is attached to your willingness to follow that uncomfortable step. The reason God gives instructions that don't make sense is simple. He's strengthening your faith. He's teaching you to trust his voice even when you cannot trace his plan. He's training you to walk by faith, not by sight. When you follow an instruction that stretches you, you begin to depend on God more than your own understanding. And that's exactly where God wants you. In a place where your obedience is greater than your logic, and your trust is stronger than your fear, there will be moments where the instruction feels contradictory to everything you see around you. God will tell you to build in a season that looks barren. He'll tell you to prepare for a blessing when nothing shows signs of growth. He'll tell you to stay still when everything in you wants to run. He'll tell you to release something when it feels like you should hold on tighter. These moments feel confusing, but they are never accidental. God uses unusual instructions to produce supernatural results. And sometimes the instruction isn't something you want to do. It's something you don't want to admit. He'll tell you to stop entertaining things that drain you. He'll tell you to confront habits you've been ignoring. He'll tell you to cut ties with relationships that are blocking your growth. He'll tell you to end cycles you've been stuck in for years. Obedience will cost you comfort, but it will never cost you purpose. What you lose through obedience, God replaces with something greater. The hardest part about these divine instructions is that God doesn't always explain why. He doesn't give you the whole plan. He gives you a step, just one, and he waits. Because the test isn't whether you understand. The test is whether you trust. Your blessing is on the other side of a faith move that may look irrational, but it is perfectly aligned with what God is preparing for you. So when God gives you a step that doesn't make sense, don't overthink it. Don't delay it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Delayed obedience is disobedience in disguise. Move when he tells you to move. Let go when he tells you to let go. Step forward when he tells you to step forward. You may not understand the instruction now, but you will understand the breakthrough later. God is not trying to confuse you. He's trying to position you. And the very instruction that challenges you today will be the testimony that elevates you tomorrow. One of the hardest tests God will ever place in your life is the test of patience. Not because waiting is painful, but because waiting exposes what you truly believe. When God delays something you prayed for, every insecure part of you begins to speak. Doubt whispers, fear rises, impatience grows, and you start wondering, did God forget me? Did I do something wrong? Is this even going to happen? But what you don't see is that delay is not a sign of denial. It's evidence of development. God is not holding something back from you. He is preparing something in you. Every blessing has a weight. Every breakthrough comes with responsibility. Every new level requires a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you. And sometimes God delays the blessing because the blessing would crush the version of you that exists right now. You're praying for things your character isn't ready to carry yet. You're asking for doors that require discipline you haven't mastered. You're asking for opportunities that demand emotional maturity you're still developing. So God uses the waiting season to build the capacity you'll need for the life you're stepping into. Waiting is not wasted time, it is training time. God is shaping you in the background while you think nothing is happening. He's maturing your faith. He's strengthening your resilience. He's teaching you patience, stability, consistency, and trust. He allows time to pass because time is part of his process. Just like a seed cannot be rushed, your destiny cannot be rushed. Growth happens underground before it ever appears above the surface. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't working. Silence is not absence, it's strategy. And sometimes the delay isn't about you, it's about what's being prepared for you. God might be aligning the right people, opening the right doors, creating the right opportunities, rearranging timelines, or protecting you from something that's not ready yet. You may think you're waiting on the blessing, but sometimes the blessing is waiting on its moment. God's timing is perfect, and he refuses to give you something prematurely. Not because he wants to withhold, but because he wants to sustain you. Patience also tests where your trust truly lies. When things take longer than expected, you discover whether your faith was in God's promise or in your own timeline. You learn whether you trust God for real or only when things go your way. Waiting exposes motives. Waiting humbles your spirit. Waiting teaches you to rely on God instead of your own strength. And the moment your trust matures, the moment you shift from when will it happen to God, I trust your timing. That's when the breakthrough begins to move toward you. God is not using delay to frustrate you. He's using it to form you. He's building a version of you that can handle the blessing without losing yourself. a version of you that won't sabotage the opportunity you prayed for, a version of you that won't fold under pressure or crumble under responsibility. Patience doesn't mean God is slow, it means God is thorough. So if you're in a season where everything feels slow, where prayers seem unanswered, where progress feels invisible, where nothing seems to be moving, don't misinterpret the moment. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared. You are not stuck. You are being strengthened. You are not forgotten. You are being developed. God delays not to deny you, but to develop you into the person who can thrive with the blessing he's about to release. Hold your faith. Guard your peace. Trust his timing. Your waiting is not empty. It is building the future you've been praying for. And when the blessing finally arrives, you'll realize the delay was the greatest part of the preparation. One of the most overlooked but most important tests God places before a breakthrough is the test of character. You can pray for a blessing, desire a promotion, ask for elevation, and believe for increase, but God will never give you something your character is too weak to sustain. Talent can open a door, but only character can keep you there. Gifting can get you recognized, but character determines whether you remain. And before God gives you what you are asking for, he checks who you are becoming. Character is built in the shadows long before it is revealed in the spotlight. God watches how you respond to pressure, how you handle temptation, how you treat people who can do nothing for you, how you act when nobody is watching. These small, private decisions shape the integrity needed for big public blessings. You cannot pray for a platform and live with a compromised foundation. You cannot ask for influence while refusing to master discipline. You cannot expect favor if you cannot be faithful. This is why God tests your character before he promotes you. He will allow situations that challenge your patience, your honesty, your humility, your self-control, your ability to choose right over easy. You'll face moments where you're tempted to cut corners, to lash out, to operate from ego, to respond from pain, to give in to old habits, to choose convenience over conviction. And in those moments, your character reveals your readiness. God won't promote you into a place where your weaknesses will embarrass your purpose. Sometimes the test comes in the form of people who misunderstand you, disrespect you, or mistreat you. These moments aren't about them. They're about you. How you respond determines whether you're led by emotion or by wisdom. Will you react or will you rise above it? Will you seek revenge or will you protect your peace? Will you operate from your calling or from your insecurities? God uses these interactions to refine parts of you that cannot exist in your next season. Other times, the test shows up in your habits. You say you want success, but are you disciplined enough to handle success? You say you want increase, but can you steward what you already have? You say you want more responsibility, but do you manage your current responsibilities well? God will not give you what you won't maintain. Elevation always demands responsibility, and responsibility demands character. Without character, blessings become burdens. And then there are moments when the test comes through temptation. The temptation to act out of pride, greed, laziness, anger, or desire for validation. God doesn't tempt you, but he does allow temptation to reveal what still needs strengthening. Character is not proven in comfort. Character is proven in moments where you have the power to do wrong but choose right. Every temptation you resist is preparing you to carry a bigger blessing with a cleaner heart. The truth is, God is not just preparing a blessing for you, he's preparing you for the blessing. You're asking God to enlarge your territory, but he's trying to enlarge your maturity. You're praying for open doors, but he's developing the integrity that will keep those doors open. You're asking for elevation, but God is building the strength that will keep you standing once you get there. If you are in a season where your patience is being tested, your discipline is being stretched, your emotions are being challenged, and your integrity is being refined, don't get discouraged. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're being prepared. God is sharpening you, polishing you, and removing anything in you that could sabotage the breakthrough you've been praying for. The blessing is already written. The breakthrough is already assigned. The elevation is already prepared. But God will not release it until your character can protect it. Not because he wants to withhold good things from you, but because he loves you too much to let your future collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. So embrace the test. welcome the refinement, honor the process. The version of you God is shaping right now is the version that can step into the blessing without breaking. This is not punishment, this is preparation. Your character is being crafted to match the magnitude of what God is about to give you. And when the breakthrough arrives, you'll look back and realize that the character God built in you was the real blessing all along. There is a test God gives that almost no one talks about, yet it is the one that separates those who dream from those who actually step into their destiny, the test of endurance. This is the test that shows up when you've been faithful for a long time, but you still haven't seen the results you expected. When you've prayed, worked, sacrificed, believed, stayed obedient, stayed consistent, and life still feels heavy. This is the test that makes quitting look easier than continuing. And that moment, that exact moment, is where most people lose what God was about to give them. Endurance is not about strength, it's about staying power. It's about holding your ground when everything around you tries to push you backwards. It's about waking up on days when your motivation is gone, your energy is low, and your faith feels tired, yet you still choose to move anyway. God doesn't reward those who start the journey, he rewards those who finish it. The blessing doesn't belong to the talented, the lucky, or the perfect. It belongs to the ones who refuse to give up, even when giving up feels justified. Life will test you with seasons where it seems like nothing is happening, nothing is changing, and nothing is moving. These are the moments where endurance matters most. You don't grow endurance from comfort, you grow endurance from pressure. You grow endurance when you keep walking through storms. You grow endurance when you fight battles no one sees. You grow endurance when you believe God's promise more than your current situation. Endurance is evidence that your faith is real. The enemy knows that if he can't stop you from starting, he will try to stop you from continuing. He'll use delays to discourage you. He'll use setbacks to frustrate you. He'll use exhaustion to make you question your purpose. He'll use unexpected challenges to make you think you're off track. But hear this clearly, the attack always intensifies right before the breakthrough. The storm always gets heavier right before the sky's clear. The resistance always strengthens right before the door opens. It's not a sign to quit. It's a sign to hold on. God uses endurance to build the version of you that can handle the elevation you're stepping into. Breakthrough isn't just about receiving, it's about sustaining. If you quit easily, you can't sustain blessings that require strength. If you break under pressure, you can't carry responsibilities that demand resilience. If you stop when you get tired, you won't last long in the place God is taking you. Endurance creates spiritual muscles that comfort can never develop. And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. The breakthrough is almost always one step past the point where you feel like giving up. One more prayer, one more act of obedience, one more day of faithfulness, one more moment of choosing discipline over feelings. This is where God tests your endurance, because this is where he reveals who is truly ready. Your blessing isn't being withheld. It's waiting for you on the other side of perseverance. Endurance is what turns pain into power. It's what takes your scars and turns them into stories. It's what transforms your struggle into strength. When you keep going through seasons that tried to break you, you prove to yourself, to the enemy, and to everyone watching that your faith is stronger than your circumstances and your purpose is bigger than your pain. So if you feel tired, don't quit. If you feel discouraged, don't quit. If everything is telling you to stop, don't quit. You are closer than you think, closer than you feel, closer than your emotions are telling you. This is the final stretch before God shifts your entire life. The test of endurance is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to distinguish you. Anybody can start. Anybody can talk about destiny. Anybody can make plans, but only those who endure receive the breakthrough. Hold on, keep walking, keep believing, keep pushing. The blessing belongs to those who don't quit. And if you're still standing, still trying, still fighting, then you are exactly who God is preparing to elevate next. Everything you're walking through right now is not random. It is not punishment. It is not abandonment. It is preparation. God is shaping you through every test. Your isolation, your opposition, your confusing instructions, your patience, your character, and your endurance. Because he is aligning you with a level you cannot reach without transformation. You prayed for elevation, and God answered with separation. You prayed for promotion, and God answered with pressure. You prayed for clarity, and God answered with instructions that stretched your faith. You prayed for blessing, and God answered with a delay that forced you to grow. You prayed for a bigger life, and God answered by refining your character. You prayed for breakthrough, and God answered with a battlefield that required endurance. Don't you see it now? Every test was an act of love. Every challenge was a setup. Every delay was divine timing. Every moment you wanted to quit was actually proof that you were almost there. Because God doesn't test what he's not preparing to trust. And God doesn't allow pressure where promotion is not waiting on the other side. So stand firm, keep going, hold the line, stay faithful. Because everything you endured is about to make sense. Everything you survived is about to pay off. The doors that were closed are about to open with force. The opportunities you thought you missed are about to return multiplied. The version of you that God has been building in the dark is about to step into the light. Your season of testing is becoming your season of testimony. What was hidden is about to be revealed. What was difficult is about to be rewarded. What felt like breaking is turning into breakthrough,